Wednesday, October 10th, 2012, started out as a normal day for me. A 41-year-old single mother of two. I was up before sunrise, working to prepare for afternoon meetings, got the kids up and off to school, tossed in a load of wash, worked a bit more, squeezed in a short run, all before 10 a.m. My life was hectic. I called the nail salon on impulse, hopeful I could enjoy just a quick little me time, escape, collect my thoughts, and allow myself to relax before the afternoon onslaught. "Any chance you can fit me in for a mani-pedi?" I asked. I pulled into Inwood Village and parked, then thought twice before turning off the engine. There was a spot right in front. I started to reverse, then reconsidered. It was a pretty day. I happily put my phone away, salon policy. Entering the room transported me to serenity. I sunk down into the giant spa chair and smiled at the girl across the room. There were just a handful of customers. Soft music played and no one spoke. I loved this time. Looking up at the clock, it read 11:27. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and let all of my tension drain. The polish had just been removed from my toenails when I heard the pedicurist yell, "What the?" I opened my eyes and saw a beautiful circle of glittering light streaming from the center of a BMW emblem, 2 feet from my face. Only then did I hear the loud, ugly roar. A car had driven through the glass storefront of the salon. My mind told my body to get out of the way. I jumped up, planning to leap left, but that's when the SUV hit me on my lower right leg. I flew onto the hood like a rag doll. Quickly, I changed my plan. Crawl up the windshield, over the hood, and jump off the back. Yet as hard as I scratched and pulled to climb further up on the hood, the driver floored it, and the acceleration of the SUV's engine resulted in a momentum I could not overcome. On the other side of the windshield, I could see the driver's face. She looked like she was in her mid-60s, dark sunglasses over her eyes. Her blonde hair was perfectly coiffed. It was so dark inside the car. Why does she have sunglasses on? I thought to myself. She was so alert, so why wouldn't she stop pressing the accelerator? Her hands were in the air. She was shaking her head. Then she buried her head in her hands and threw her arms up again. I fought. I screamed, "Stop!" I even yelled the magic word, "Please!" as if my manners would make a difference. But the car didn't stop. What's wrong with this person? Is she sick? What would compel someone to drive a car into a building? I realized that if I wanted to live, I was the one who had to do something. So I said a prayer and I asked for strength. The engine roared even louder. The hood of the car felt warm as the SUV pushed against the wall behind me. The lady in the dark glasses was driving her car through the nail salon wall into Supercuts with me in the salon chair, along for the ride. As the wall began to crumble around me, I continued reaching and clawing and grabbing. The stabbing pain in my leg hurt like my limb was being ripped off my body. I told myself, "It's gone. Don't worry about the leg. You can deal with that later. Save the rest of yourself." The pain was horrific, and yet I was still conscious, thinking, planning, functioning. Is this what it feels like to lose a leg? "Deal with it later," echoed my mind. Inertia would not allow me to crawl up and over the car, and the car would not stop pushing forward. I kept trying to pull my body up, reaching for the windshield wipers, and finally the car slowed as we plowed into the Supercuts next door. Screams echoed throughout the shop. I couldn't see a thing but the slick black hood of the car. For fear that the SUV would start moving again, I jumped off the hood of the BMW to the left in hopes that I could land on the one leg I believed I still had. So to my surprise, I landed and I took a step. I fell onto the bench in the corner and looked down. Dust was everywhere. And as it began to clear, I saw them. Both of my legs. Shards of glass were protruding out of them, and they were covered in blood, but my actual legs were still there, attached to my body. I'd picked up my head, and debris was everywhere, as if a volcano had just erupted. The BMW was motionless, but still running, as it sat in the middle of Supercuts. "Turn off the engine!" a man in black athletic clothes yelled repeatedly. The SUV became silent, but the screaming continued. A girl ran in from next door. "Someone's under the car! Someone's under the car!" she screamed. Everyone in Supercuts, including myself, joined in yelling, "Someone's under the car!" The man in black ran forward and moved the salon chair out of the way. He looked strong and healthy, composed and prepared. It comforted me slightly, but I was still afraid of what I was about to see. I had visions of the pedicurist mangled, lying under the vehicle. The man in black tried to crawl under the car, but there was too much wreckage. "I don't see anyone," he hollered. We all continued to yell, "Someone's under the car!" Then the girl screamed, "Keep looking!" There was a girl in the chair. "She's under the car. She flew up in the air and disappeared. She's under the car." I sat silent for a moment. No one had seen me in the corner. Relief swept over me as I realized it was me they were looking for. I quietly spoke up. "I was sitting in the chair." No one heard me. I tried again, this time a bit louder. "I was sitting in the chair," I repeated. Everyone turned, stared at me, and ran to the corner to help. Miraculously, I was the only person seriously injured in this freak accident. The aftermath of the accident was just as messy as the accident itself. In the midst of dealing with insurance and medical bills, there were the hundreds of stitches in my legs and arm. It took hours a day to change the bandages, clean the wounds, and pick the shards of glass from the incisions. My daughter would curl up next to me and cry, "Where would we have lived if you had died, Mom?" The pain was constant, and the nightmares took over my life. Running had been my therapy in the past. Now it was not an option. Trying to pick up the pieces of my now shattered life, I wanted to make sense of it all, yet I couldn't. There were too many unanswered questions. Why did that lady drive into the salon? Why was I there at that time? Why was I in that chair? Does everything happen for a reason? And who was the man in black? So I made a choice. I decided I was going to make peace with the situation, live the questions, and stop trying to find the answers, not just regarding this accident, but in all areas of my life. Amidst this dark cloud, a silver lining has emerged. In some odd way, traveling through that wall on the hood of a car gave me the chance to get to know myself again. It allowed me the opportunity to see myself stripped down raw, to see how I responded in a desperate situation. I liked what I saw. This is the person I wanted to be. I still have crazy days, occasional nightmares and pain, yet there is a new peace inside of me that creates a different tone in my life. I have dug deeper to answer questions that I can answer about myself, my gifts, my passions. And I have intentionally made them part of my daily life. Today, my mornings are a bit different. Now I wake up happier, with purpose, living fully in the moment.